from creatively constructed scenes to stylistic usage of striking colors and cinematography.
Say hello to my little friend!
Brian De Palma's early filmography is a breath of fresh air for Americans' dense, stoic, and stagnant cinema. By bending the traditional Hollywood conventions, he rose to the top, becoming one of the most notable American New Wave directors. In a radio podcast titled All Things Considered, Brian De Palma mentioned that he ventured into the world of filmmaking after watching Alfred Hitchcock's work, specifically Vertigo. After graduating with an engineering degree, he went on to pursue a master's degree in the theatre, which exposed him to a larger myriad of influences, including Jean-Luc Godard. He co-directed his first feature film during his fellowship, alongside Wilfrid Leach and Cynthia Monroe, titled The Wedding Party, which features a fresh, promising actor Robert De Niro, who went on to star in numerous of De Palma's films. Alfred Hitchcock's visual and narrative style serves as a major catalyst in De Palma's journey to becoming a filmmaker. De Palma would often learn from Hitchcock by mirroring his narrative and visual choices. American New Wave directors broke free from the stagnant studio system and were drawn towards controversial topics, which invokes a sense of discomfort in the viewers. They injected their rebellious and stylistic choices in their films, disregarding the narrative cohesion, and films from this movement were realistic and revolves around eccentric character. This influx of young directors were able to connect with the younger audience, which fell off towards the end of classical Hollywood, with their rebellious style and narrative. All of De Palma's film falls under two categories of genres: psychological thriller and commercialized action crime hybrid films. Brian De Palma wanted to be the Jean-Luc Godard of American cinema. However, he found himself trapped amidst the political mess of the 1960s, where he seeks solace in independently created horrors and thrillers. He finally managed to break through his dry spell with his 1976 psychological thriller, Carrie. Numerous of De Palma's work are almost carbon copies of many of his influences. Not only does De Palma borrow narrative and visual elements from others, De Palma's film also revolves around graphic and sensitive subjects that was frowned upon by film critics, but were loved by many film fanatics to the extent of becoming cult favorites. One example would be Carrie. It features the same composer that Hitchcock used in Psycho, Bernard Herrmann. And the 300-degree shot that circles around Carrie and Tommy in the prom scene was recreated from an iconic scene in Vertigo. However, we can all agree that he does a phenomenal job of adapting and mimicking his influences. De Palma rebuts the preconceived notion of him by stating that he integrates Hitchcock's style into his own creative framework, and by adding his own original touch, he created something that could be regarded as his. De Palma received significant backlash from his depiction of women in his film. People often label him as a misogynistic director. De Palma justifies this by claiming that the outcome of the type of film he's making could only result in women in pain or death. I'm always attacked for having an erotic, sexist approach. Chopping out women, putting women in peril. I'm making suspense movies. What else is gonna happen to them? De Palma strongly believes that violence can shape and reveal his characters, and the end result is visible from the usage of colors or costumes. De Palma uses color to convey the emotion of a scene, and he will give characters a set of colors. Assigned colors would often change with the development of his character, and one notable example would be Scarface. Manny is seen wearing a different shade of violet up to his marriage to Tony's sister. as though the color violet was transferred over to her in the scene where Manny was killed. Red and white, the symbolism of blood and cocaine respectively, are seen all over Frank's house, and later in Tony's house. This implies that their wealth was built from killing and drugs. Brian De Palma is a director that utilizes a lot of unconventional cinematography techniques. Hitchcockian's high-angle shots, 300-degree pans, long take, and his notorious usage of split-screen shot, also known as the split diopter shot. Brian De Palma popularized the split diopter shot, first used by Greg Toland in Citizen Kane. Split diopter forces the foreground and background to be equally in focus, creating a distinctive, unique look. This helps to enhance the experience of his film visually and emotionally. One example of De Palma's film, Blowout, it has numerous split diopter shots of Jack in the background, notably when he is collecting sound for his job and when he falls in the rabbit hole of saving Sally. These characteristics made his film stand out from the rest. By prioritizing style over narrative, De Palma's films are easily recognizable. With the combination of historical and personal references, striking cinematography, controversial and rebellious subject matter, and meticulous usage of colors, these traits define De Palma's filmography as his crown as one of the most critical driving figures of the American New Wave. Brian De Palma is a director you either love or hate. Despite a mixed reception from the world, De Palma stood by what he stands for in his films and continues to create. This is visible in his contemporary film Passion, where bloodshed continues. Despite the backlash, De Palma garnered tons of support from Roger Ebert and Quentin Tarantino, with Tarantino claiming in a handwritten note that one of his all-time favorite is De Palma's Blowout. I truly admire Brian De Palma's attitude towards filmmaking. He adapts his favorite influences and makes it his own by adding his traits. And despite all the constant flack he received, he succeeded. This is one major takeaway from analyzing his journey of becoming a renowned auteur.